miss you. When I say I'm falling for you, right before the sunrise. When I say I'm falling for you, when you say I miss you. When I say I'm falling for you, right before the sunrise. When I say I'm falling for you, when you say I miss you. When you say I miss you.
Good eve, Obeaswan here. Wanted to do a quick little pilot episode for my project that I'm working on, Obeaswan, Spinning in the Dark, which essentially is a form of self-therapy I'm doing for myself. I'm dealing with major depression right now and potential PTSD. And so I've been trying to find things that help me bring me back to who I was before certain events ended up leading me to where I am right now. So the whole idea of this podcast, or this stream, might be a podcast, might be a YouTube channel as well later on, but starting it off with this is a form of therapy for myself, also to raise awareness for mental injuries, mental disorders, and general human rights type things. But one way that I wanted to do it was do this Twitch stream and actually getting back to the basics. I've been playing EVE off and on since 2013. Absolutely love the community. I love how it's changed. And as I'm rebuilding myself up again, over the last 9 years, I've noticed major degradation in a lot of my abilities due to mental illnesses that I've acquired. Things that I really enjoyed beforehand, such as fishing, which might also come into this channel, are things that I seem to enjoy and am able to do. Also, talking in video games is a lot more comfortable. Like, honestly, most of the time I have to walk around with a sign that says this. Alright, I don't even know if that's reading proper. So, essentially, it reads, I have a mental injury and sometimes have issues communicating and sometimes get confused and overwhelmed. Please be patient with me, thank you. Because sometimes when I go out in public, I can't talk, I can't find words. So, like I said, right now this is helping me a lot. I'm actually able to talk somewhat decently. What the project actually is I'm planning on starting a character from scratch in EVE. I'm not going to be part of any corporation or anything. I'm just going to essentially solo it around and sort of do how-to videos along with that, and actually see what was done with the game in the tutorial section and whatnot, because like I said, last time I did it, it was in 2013. So I am going to, and I'll be very honest, I am learning how to utilize Twitch as I'm doing this, but it seems to be something that I'm somewhat able to learn as I'm going along, which is great, because I actually have problems reading right now as well. So we'll begin by going to the actual character creation screen. So here I am. I had test noob that I made the other day just to get an account set up and just to make sure there wasn't any huge big pitfalls that I was going to fall into while doing this. So I'm actually going to be creating a new character for this stream. Feel free to leave comments and chats in the stream if you wish. So here we are at the beginning of the screen. You have the 4 different empires that you can fight for. So it asks you to choose one. So we have the Minmatar, which I'll read that. We will free our people from the bonds of slavery. To fight for anything less is to betray the Republic. Captain Karstall, I can't even say that. In any case, so the Minmatar are a previously freed slave race of the Amar. So the Minmatar and Amar are actually at war. So the Amar, our mighty empire, will be built upon our faith and the Creator and loyalty to the throne. So they are a very religious race. Their equipment is rather shiny and looks really, really pretty. Then come the Galente, which are the Federation is a beacon of democracy and liberty in the chaos of New Eden. So they're a lot of the more free thinkers and radical movers. We'll get more into exactly what all of them do. And then the Caldari. In our Caldari state, wealth and power comes only from loyalty to the corporation. So they're a big, faction that relies mainly on corporations. So I'm going to go through each one of these. And I have the one that I want to pick. However, if somebody does decide that they're going to pick it in stream, as this is the pilot episode and there are people here, I will totally take that into account. So, as far as Minmatar go, they have these crappy little rust bucket looking ships that are actually quite fast and really good targeting and censoring. All of these ones that are on here are actually not that great, except for this one here, Vigil, which comes into play a lot when we do larger things. But the way I've heard them described is essentially if you got a kid at the top of the stairs sitting in a shopping cart using a Uzi, that's essentially what Minmatar ships are made by. They have a term called trust the rust, and everything seems to be held together with duct tape. They're not the prettiest looking ships, but they have great targeting and are very they're quite fast compared to a lot of the other ones. So, and then their type of weapon systems that they use are more low tech because they're just freshly freed slaves that didn't have much resources, and they just hack and slash their stuff together, or ratch patch their stuff together. Sorry, I also use weird metaphors sometimes because of my injury or mental injury. So they use projectile weapons mainly. So these are the artillery and autocannons, and nice thing about them is they're generally they can do every type of damage, which I'll get into a little bit later, probably in a future episode. But they're nice. Also, the weapon systems itself doesn't use up the power grid, which I will also get into later. But choosing a faction, essentially, you just go by what you think is the coolest. So these are like modern day pew pew guns. And the people themselves, after centuries of subjugation, we rose up and cast off our slavers' shackles. The proudly rebuilt nation of Batar will free every soul still enslaved across the cluster. Together we will forge our own destiny at home among the stars. So, like I said, they're essentially just a freely recently enslaved, they got out of the whole slavery thing. I also get tongue-tied, and that's why I'm doing this as a form of therapy to help myself get through these talking issues. So their main enemy, their empire enemy is actually the Amar. So the Amar must return our people to us. There will no longer be peace between our empires until the last Minmatar brother or sister held in slavery is released. We will never allow the Amar to conquer us again, even if it means a struggle to the death. So the Amar still relies heavily upon slaves, and they still have a lot of the Minmatar people, and Minmatar obviously want their people back. And then there is the pirate enemy that lives in sort of their space in the Losak area into the and causes problem in their empire as well as into Nullsec sometimes, and that's the Angel Cartel. Angel Cartel is a dangerous and unpredictable foe heavily involved in human trafficking, slavery, and the drug trade. Their criminal acts represent a clear betrayal of the Matari people and our way of life. We will make them rue the day they cross the Republic fleet. So, yeah, that's essentially their whole backstory. There's a lot more to it, and at some point, probably in a podcast forum, I'm actually going to go through and have discussions about the Eve source book, which I had gotten a couple of years back from a awesome friend, Oak Wolf, actually. And, it's honestly beautifully illustrated and explains a bunch of the science and lore behind a bunch of the races themselves. It's honestly a good read. I rather enjoyed it when I can actually get to reading properly again, more than a paragraph at a time. Maybe I'll do a podcast with that one and discussing it. So the Galente Federation. The Galente Federation represents hundreds of diverse peoples united by the ideals of freedom and democracy. The pursuit of innovative technologies contributes to the most advanced economy in all of New Eden. Our powerful fleet guards our worlds from tyranny. So, I guess I skipped over that a little bit. Okay, so honestly, I love the Galente ships. Megathron is honestly one of my favorite looking ships, and just because one of my favorite movies of all time is Space Truckers, I really enjoy their cargo ships as well. So, and their main weapons and defense. Sorry, I forgot to say, Minmatar are usually shield. As far as Galente, they specialize in close range combat, so they're usually heavily armored, and they use blaster weapons and drones. So their best weapons that they have are relatively in close. Drones are nice too because you can shoot from a distance and they can deal damage without you having to aim too terribly much. So drones are definitely a lot of fun. Armor tank, using heavy armor to our advantage. Our fleet's focus on rapid armor repair. So they have some of the better armor repairs as well. The thing about oh man, I just lost that there. The Galente are just honestly a very awesome race. I really like them. So their main empire enemy is the Caldari. So Galente are all the free thinkers. Caldari are all the corporate goon guys. I guess I shouldn't use goon as a derogatory term because technically I'm one as well. Well, I am one. Just not with these characters coming up. And then their pirate enemy is... Sorry, I guess I should read the empire enemy, Caldari. So the relentless hunger of Caldari megacorporations put them at clear odds with the Federation's principles, resulting in years of bloody conflict. We will not stand by idly as their policies violate the rights and liberties of individuals in rightful Galente space. And then their pirate enemy is Serpentis. I honestly love their ships. After splintering from a once respected Galente research corporation, Serpentis amassed wealth and power by engaging in illegal narcotics manufacturing. Their alliance with other criminal enterprises makes them a formidable foe for the Federation Navy. So the Caldari state. Caldari... hold on. So yeah, the Caldari are quite a popular race as well. They have some really... They got very interesting looking ships and very interesting skill sets. So what the Caldari state's technology is, as innovators of hybrid weapon technology strike from a distance. So they use more of the railguns, and they also like using missile systems. So a deadly combination of guided missile tech and punishing railguns allows us to switch between damage types quickly and efficiently. So Caldari is another one that's able to choose what damage type they're going to be doing, which is quite handy depending on what you're fighting. Caldari State Corporation family. These are the three guiding pillars of the Caldari State. We prize hard work, sharp minds, and honorable conduct above all. Through loyal service to our corporations, we gain wealth for our people and merit ourselves. So, obviously, because they're very group-minded, and the Empire and Galente is very individualistic, they're obviously at odds. The Galente have unlawfully occupied our homeworld of Caldari Prime. We defy their occupation and will defend our settlements to the death. While we prefer trade over war, the Galente's colonial meddling has left us with no choice but to engage in conflict. Their pirate enemy actually has some really interesting background, which I'd like to get into again in future episodes or podcasts. which is the Gristas. Founded by deserters of the Caldari Navy, the Gristas are nothing more than traitors to the state. Their dealings with the black market and human trafficking sully honorable Caldari trade with violence and greed. Alright. So, now comes the Amar Empire, which, as far as the aesthetic, I love them the most, but as far as what they are and who they stand for, well, I can't say that I agree too much. But they honestly have some of the most beautiful ships in the game. Their weapon systems that they use are lasers and energy weapons, so they use blasters and beam weapons, and they got a pretty good range that they can deal damage with. However, it's very limited in that it only does 2 types of weapon damage, so it can be challenging to deal with certain types of enemies if you're using a laser boat. And they're also armor tanked. Oh, sorry, Caldari is shield tanked as well. So the Amar Empire, we are the chosen people, tasked to reclaim the universe in the name of God. Through the ages, our holy empire's might and power have been upheld by our faith and obedience to the imperial throne. As our empress commands, we shall spread the glory of Amar across the stars. They have an amazing and rich history, and again, I'll get into that sometime in the future. So their empire that they're at war with is the Minmatar, and obviously they don't like their slaves running away and causing a rebellion. So the Minmatar Republic denied the blessing of their holy servitude with their rebellion against the Empire. We will restore the natural order of the universe by crushing their leaders, reclaiming the stars they occupy, and returning their misguided followers to the rightful place. They sound like a lovely bunch. Their pirate enemy is the Blood Raiders, which also has some amazing history. The whole freaking New Eden universe is bloody amazing, actually, for deep and rich history. Tainted by heresy and sin, the Blood Raider Covenant shall face the righteous judgment of the one true Lord. The might of the Amar faith is the only weapon powerful enough to end their twisted blood rituals once and for all. Alright, so now I got 2 viewers that are sitting here. If anybody wants to let me know what they would like me to play, I know what I want to play, but if one of you guys want to tell me what it is that I'm going to play, I will totally do that. So I will give you about 30 seconds, starting now. Alright, so I think I am actually going to start off with the Minmatar again. And part of the reason for that is I'm going to actually play as an alpha clone for a while. And I'm probably going to level him up into faction warfare. And I just really like Minmatar frigates for playing in. Alright, so each of the different races has a separate subtype, which I forgot to get into. So essentially, this is more of a relic type thing. I don't think it makes any difference at all anymore. Before, it used to give you extra skills in different things. So as far as the Minmatar, we have the Virurcure, I can't even say it, I'm sorry. Originally nomads and Matars in hospitable desert regions, the V-Dudes, contribute great numbers of merchants, healers, scholars, fortune tellers to the Republic. So, I got a feeling these guys would have a little bit of a bonus in logistics. And then we got the Subistor, or Yes crew here. Widely respected as some of the cluster's most innovative thinkers, the Subistor are an ingenious people with cultural fondness for engineering. And then the Brutor, the martial, strong-willed people. The Brutor hold their tribal heritage close to their hearts and are renowned for living regimented, disciplined lives. Alright, I might as well go through all the different ones here as well. So, the Intaki are a Galente subclass, one of the largest ethnicities of the Federation, exceedingly gifted communicators, prominent among the federal bureaucracy. And then the Jinmai are the latest addition to the Federation. They took to the stars comparatively late, as it took generations to stop excluding qualified people through class-based discrimination. So they had very bad class things set up. And then the true Galentians value freedom and individual liberty above all else. Founders of the only true democracy of New Eden, they have created an ethnically diverse, culturally rich, and progressive society. Then over to the Kaldari. So the Akura have been part of the Kaldari state for 3 centuries. Through their intensely spiritual culture remains mysterious. Akira pilots have taken to the stars to unlock the secrets of the universe. And then the deities are regarded as the face of leadership with sharp-ordered minds and articulate tongues. They have made the responsibility of upholding the integrity of the Kaldari state their own. And then the Siviri, whether engaged in trade or combat, the Siviri are masters of focused aggression, highly competitive individuals. They thrive under chaotic circumstances and frenetic activity. Yeah. Alright, so then the Amar. Canids. The Canids have faithfully served Amar Empire since its earliest days of conquest. Initially shock troops, some have risen to the rank of Holder, the highest of all honors. And then Yamar, as the dominant bloodline of the Empire, the true Yamar take tremendous pride in their ancestry. Some consider them arrogant and tyrannical. And then Nikunai. The Nikunai are transcended their humble origins as servants of the Empire by proving themselves as tradesmen and artisans. Alright, now I'm actually not sure what one I want to play. Let's see. You know what? Just to do this a little bit different and build up. Nah, I don't know. Damn it, now I'm totally confused. I will go with what I originally said, and I will play and I'm going to be doing a lot of faction warfare hopefully, so I will go with the V-dudes over here. And let's go with a male. So character creation in this one is far more in-depth than it has to be. It is sort of silly the amount of sculpting that you can do with these things. And I don't know why they have shoes, because all you ever see is their face. It makes no sense. But let's check it out. Okay. Alright, let's go middle with Obeaswan, right? So, by the way, Obeaswan came from, that's my chunky, chunky Jedi name. So, yeah, let's go with that. Alright. Should make him a nice looking guy. I don't know, whatever. Oh, let's do randomized appearance and see how that goes. Alright, close enough. Don't know if I want that here though. That's right, you were watching a Twitch stream of a dude do a character creation. I know, it's fun. I don't know. Not feeling it quite. Let's see. Oh, there we go. The water brew turning is right. Yes. Yeah, there we go. Let's go with that one. Randomization here, quick. That did not turn out well. Holy hell. Okay, there. That's going a little bit better. Oh, it's like the big peoples, you know, get the Puss in Boots looking thing going on there. And I miss having my own mohawk, so I'll go with mohawk here. What the hell is this? Eyebrows. Oh my god. Yeah, like I said, there's way too much detail going on into all this stuff here. But, you know, I guess you want to look like what you want to look like, so. Close enough. So yeah, you get all the details into pretty much everything going on in here. These eye details, man, there's so much stuff in here I haven't touched in years, so what the fuck is that? Pardon my swearing. Oh, okay, it's under the eye color. Man, like... There's just so much to choose from in here, it's crazy. And boots. I still don't understand the whole boots thing. You're never going to see somebody's boots. I think somebody was able to see boots by accident once because profile picture camera ended up taking a weird angle, but this is whereas the other guy there that just had a picture of his eyeballs and teeth and things, so honestly not too worried about that. Although, you know, if he is going to be the main character in a program that I'm going to be running, I should probably make sure that at least he's a little bit pretty to look at, so. And for new people following in here, don't hesitate to say hi in the stream. Check out the fancy emotes I just made today. And wait, can I do both? How's this? Close enough. Alright, no tattoos, scars. Let's see what we got. I can always change this stuff a little bit later too. I don't think I need to get them too scarred up yet. You know, it's going to be in a fresh pod, fresh clone, so. Alright, so now, I mean, I could have, now let's see if we can actually get this. Alright, perfect. Oh my god. Okay, and then you gotta choose your education background, which again just gives you a couple of skill points already in something else. So, for example, in this one, Institute of Exploration, Republic University, Republican Inventory Institute of Exploration is known for its pioneering research in the field of astroarchaeology. Republic Military School. Center of Combat Studies, Republic Military School. The Republic Military School's curriculum stresses creative problem-solving techniques to produce some of the cluster's most innovative military minds. That's probably what I'm going to go for, just because I want to do a lot of PvP and do stuff a little bit more entertaining for you guys. And then there's Republic University. Institute of Exploration, Republic University. The Republic University's Institute of Exploration is known for its pioneering research in the field of astronomy. Okay, well, whatever. Here we go again. Whatever. Sorry, this first one here was Pater Tech, which is school's industry division, well regarded for its interdisciplinary approach to commerce and manufacturing. Alright, well, going to military school. And next is photo time, I believe. Okay, looks like we are going to be doing the tutorial. Oh wait, did I not? Oh, I guess we did the tutorial. Okay, yep. That's the whole fun of this. I don't know if I'm going to get through the whole tutorial in this pilot episode right now. Just gonna see. And I will turn down the music here.
Captain, wake up.
Captain, wake up.
It's me, Aura, your AI companion. I must insist you wake up right this instant.
And I definitely need to turn this up.
If you do not wake up, my
Give me 1
protocols
second.
dictate-
Sorry, I should have gotten this set up a little bit beforehand, but... And we'll listen to some music while we're going here, okay?
If you do not wake up, my protocols dictate I initiate your ship's self-destruct sequence, thereby forcing you to regenerate into a new clone. Seems such a waste. This body is so fresh.
Alright.
I see that got your attention. Now that you're conscious, I must inform you that I have both good
Oh, I guess I
and
should
bad
pull
news.
this down here, I guess. So you guys can actually see it. There you go.
The bad news is your ship's interface has been knocked offline by an unidentified enemy vessel. The good news is that I can help you fix it. I will focus on rebooting your systems while you try not to die. First, calibrate your camera drones. They allow you to view your ship from multiple angles. You must ensure they are in working order.
Alright, again, this is just your left clicking and moving stuff around to take a look.
Almost there. Now, your engines are clearly running, but you should still test your maneuvering thrusters. If your ship explodes, we'll know something is amiss.
That's a good way to find out if something's amiss, I guess. Alright, so I got to double click in any random direction, so that's one way of moving in a direction, is to just double click at any point in space.
Excellent. Your ship has not exploded. Yet. This is
It will,
extremely
don't worry.
fortunate,
It
as
really
I've
will.
managed to bring your info panel online.
Yay.
I will update it with your current objectives.
Alright, so let's click on... Ooh, info
I'm
panel.
receiving a distress signal from a nearby ship. I suspect you were not the only one to fall afoul of that unidentified hostile. Let's warp to the signal source.
Right, because I don't have my weapons online yet. Somehow I think it's going to happen when I get there, though.
Stay sharp, Captain. I am not certain what we will encounter when we arrive.
Probably test running away from my Corvette. Without weapons. Thank you, Dead GTX. I appreciate the follow. That is awesome. I hope to be continuing providing awesome content as we move along.
To get here in time. Target the wreck, and I will scan for survivors.
I'm just doing a playthrough essentially from the beginning here is what I'm going to try to do. Alright, so let's click on this Concord wreck. So Concord is like the police of the New Eden.
Perhaps we need to get closer.
We'll talk about security status at some point, and Concord are the enforcers of that security status. So right click and select approach. Okay, so right click, and then you got these spinning bar that pops up here, approach.
There do not appear to be any survivors. How unfortunate. I will continue scanning the area, but I am not optimistic.
Well, neither am I. Actually, I haven't listened to EVE music for a while. Its jams are actually not too bad as far as
processes have reactivated your ship's
game music goes. Oh,
so
nice.
you can see what ships and structures exist in nearby space.
Such as that Circadian Seeker right over here. I guess I can move this guy over here now. Oh no. Oh, I guess I probably shouldn't have targeted him yet. Oh no. I gotta try not to get... Oh,
My
right
sensors
click.
indicate a
Lock
hostile
target.
incoming.
It's
A
already locked.
Circadian Seeker, to be exact. Lock your target and prepare to fight.
Alright. Still haven't got my weapons online there, Aura. Alright.
Target locked. I have restored access to your ship interface, so you can fire your weapons. Now would be an excellent time to do so.
Apparently, that would be a good way of doing so. So there's two ways of firing your ships. You can either just click on it with your mouse, or you can hit F1. So there's hotkeys that are through here, F1 through, I think, F8. But
Leave your weapon engaged until your target is destroyed.
so there's usually a lot more to it than just this. But so here's what these Circadian Seekers look like.
Good riddance. That Circadian Seeker was a drifter drone. You do remember who the drifters are, don't you? They are one of the few things all the empires of New Eden agree on. They are a threat to us all. Now, let's head home before we encounter any further trouble. We'll be safe once we're docked at a station.
Find my station. Okay, so the overlay over here has essentially all the things that you see in space. I'll be doing a tutorial later on how to actually set this up so it's not crap, but we'll go off the general settings right now. So in the general view, they have the space station highlighted, tells you how far away it is, name of whatever the object is you're looking at, and what type it is. So we're heading over to the space station. Right click and select dock. The tutorial system that they have is definitely a lot
Warping commenced.
more in depth than when I had played the first time around. Because before, quite often, if one thing went wrong or you did something out of place, quite often your tutorials would crash and it wasn't the most amazing thing. So
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted. During our warp, I successfully reactivated your neocom. No need to thank me. I am far more capable of multitasking than the average human.
So it would seem. Alright, so the Edencom is the portion of the strip on the side here, and it lets you see all your things, so the little Edencom button actually has all the detailed stuff. Then you can pull up your character sheet, agency, which we'll talk about in a little bit, your mail, inventory, personal assets throughout all of New Eden, wallet, regional market, your fitting tool, which we'll definitely be going into a lot later, map, project discovery, which I'll talk about at a later episode, help, and then whatever the heck is right here, which I think is our chat channels. Alright, so what do they want us to do? Alright, just take a look.
Speaking of the neocom, you can use it to contact Concord. As New Eden's impartial law enforcement agency, securing peace in the cluster is their primary function. I am certain they will want to hear about these attacks. You can contact them through the Agency tab in the neocom.
Alright, so the Agency tab will let you get to a bunch of other stuff as well, but we're going to work for the Popo for the time being.
As I predicted, Concord is concerned about the Drifter menace. They have another task for us to handle. Most importantly, they're willing to pay for your services.
Ooh, I like it when people pay for my services. That was a shameless plug. No, actually, I did end up getting qualified for affiliate in the Twitch streaming, so actually there is chances of doing the subscribe and bits and all that other fancy stuff. Again, this is just pilot, so I'm not too terribly worried about any of that, but I do have a lot more stuff going on my site than I did before, so you can play around with emotes and all that other jazz if you like. Anyways, enough of the shameless plug. I am going to begin this. So, activate to begin mission. So, begin the investigation. Long-range scanners have confirmed the presence of seekers at a nearby wreckage site. Clear them so investigators can move in. So we gotta navigate towards this hostile target site and destroy it, and we get a huge 10,000 ISK reward. So let's go and do this.
Before you depart, you might want to examine the Station Services interface to which I have just restored access. From there, you will be able to utilize all services available in the station. Seems rather self-explanatory, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, Sassy McCanns. Alright, so in here we have a loyalty store, which when you do missions for certain people, you can get fancy better gear or implants, blueprints, all sorts of fun stuff, faction type things, which are worth a decent amount and very useful. Ship insurance, I'm only flying a Corvette, which is free, so I'm not really, and it also says you have nothing worth insuring. Factional warfare, so if you're in an area where you can do faction warfare, which is what I want to get into later because it's a lot of fun. That's the button to get into that. Industry, which again will be a different thing. You can actually build stuff in most places. Fitting, so we'll get into the fitting window later, but it essentially shows what your ship is and how it is set up. Marketplace. Reprocessing plant for breaking down goods and turning them into usable resources. Repair shop, which is quite useful for when you have busted up kit. Clone bay, later on you can put more clones down. And then, hold on, because apparently it's important again, and this is what we do. And I hear that my kids have come home from school, so this is going to be pretty close to the end, because trying to keep them all quiet will be a pain in the butt. But, on that note, I'm going to leave you guys with a happy, derpy smile. Can I get him? Oh no, it looks like he had a stroke. Eh? Alright, let's get a good picture. There you go. Boom! There we are. Get some fancy lights going. There you go. Perfect.
Before you depart, you might want to examine the station services
Yeah, I already
interface,
did that,
to which I have just
and-
restored access. Prepare yourself, Captain. You are safe now, but once you
But
undock,
honestly, I
believe
am
the
going
correct
to
colloquialism is
call this at this point just because I don't want to have people charging on in, and I know my kids are going to be asking to use the computer after a long day at school because we're all a bunch of gamer nerds here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Dead GTX, for the follow. I do plan on having continuing this on probably tomorrow at some point. And if you guys need, you guys can watch any of my other stuff that I've done, which has all essentially been testing how the system works on my Twitch page as well. And yeah, so fly safe, and I will see you guys around. If I can figure out how to turn this thing off, I'm still new at this. All right, take care of yourselves.